2. Close at the high. As I said earlier today, you're on Discord. Not going to be trading all the way into the close, but somewhat into the close.
Stop filled.
We're looking to see if we're going to reverse there. I was looking for, well, I guess we could probably reverse. It's an early reversal.
Order filled.
Let's see here. We're only in one lot. All right.
Order filled.
One more.
Order filled.
3. We were long on oil as well. Up roughly just a little bit on that. Oh. What's this MNQ? How did I get long on the MNQ? That's because I was looking at that chart for some odd, strange reason.
Order filled.
All right. Well, welcome, everybody. We are streaming. I'm long on both. Well, only 2 lots on. Only got picked up for 2 on the CL, and we are only 3 lots on the NQ. Thanks there, Don. Appreciate it. So was that just a run-of-the-mill momentum check there is one of the questions. And we're looking to get picked up for more. Looking to get picked up for more there. You calmed down now, didn't you, buddy? Sure did. Oil, we're looking at least our immediate target. Okay, I got knocked out at that. One of them is 90 spot 49 CL. GC didn't really do anything except for maybe move up, get back to that value range. What time is it? We're about 90 minutes to market close. I mean, I was right before I jumped off here before the afternoon or the lunch session when I said, the market's going to remain momentum long the rest of the day. It's pretty clear when the gap was filled and then when momentum was recaptured on chart 1. Yeah, there's actually some good trades there. Good pullbacks. I don't know, Jules, if you're still on. You mentioned that you were going to buy in pullbacks. I don't think you probably did. Maybe you did, but.
Well, I've had a good day so far, but I had to pick a friend up from the airport, so I've been off since pretty much since through lunch. So I literally just got back on.
Oh, that's good though. I mean, it's good to have
But
a
I had
good
a
day.
great I had a great morning, and I'm just trying to reacclimate to what's happening now. I'm listening to you, and then I'm sort of bouncing it off my own brain to go, do I agree or not? Because I can't just go blindly on, oh, it's going long. I really want to see and understand the factors that are making you see it go long. So I'm
Yep. You want to see it for yourself, which is
exactly.
key. Yeah. No, I agree. That's the best way to do it. It's really the only way to do it, actually.
Well, the few times I have like just gone blindly, they end up stinging me. So I'm like, all right, I got to see this for myself.
Yeah, blind isn't good. Even if it's blind off someone's, expert opinion, it usually isn't good. Mainly because the market can change pretty quick.
Yeah, and you're making choices quicker than and you're doing things I can't see, and so it's like, okay, you've actually said it before. You'll say, oh, it's going this way, and then 30 seconds later you'll see something else develop, and we may or may not get that information. So I'm just keeping my own eye on it.
Yeah.
I'm excited at seeing things like the momentum crossing over bias. I'm meeting up with it right now. And then I look back time frame wise, and I'm going, okay, so if I started at 10 a.m. and I started my 50% pullback from there, I see, or actually not even 10 a.m. Right at 11:40 a.m. That pullback comes back to about 50%, and now it's moving up. So, and then I'm trying to check that against levels that I see on the chart. So, anyway, I'm here. I'm doing the thing.
Great. That's good to hear. Oh, it is really good to hear. So,
The psychological piece that I'm dealing with today is now I feel because I did good in the morning and I'm coming back. I'm a little bit trade shy because I don't want to blow my P&L for the day.
yeah.
It's like, oh, should I get back in the water? I already had a good surf.
It's actually good to actually step away and realize that the market psychology changes and the market speed. And it's almost a new market, even though it is based on what happened previously. There's different decisions and different decision makers making time. There is an axiom out there of traders making money in the morning and giving it all away in the afternoon. That's actually something that's common. So you're wise to guard against that. Uh, but
That used to be me
yeah, so it used to be
until I
nephew.
started trading only afternoons when I went to the West Coast
Yeah,
because I just could not. I do so well in the morning, and then the afternoon pivot hits, or just a lot of different movement happens in the afternoon that I'm not used to from the morning, so it just would throw me off.
yeah. So it's a
I'm
common thing.
I'm laying low right now.
No, it's good, and it's also, but part of it is then you just have to realize, or just adapt. Nothing really changes except for, hey, Stephanie Hall. So good afternoon, Rex and nephew. Actually, Stephanie, I think you sent us a message. I think. By the way, I'm just going to mention this for those that are on, Discord. We rarely send you a message, and then if we do, you can always just ask us to verify who we are. But we rarely send out messages. So if someone's asking for a friend request with one of us, our names, it's typically not us. You can always go and verify it by going to Discord, looking at our names, and right clicking. We're the red ones on there. So, if there is scammers on our server, we get rid of them. But what they do is they kind of sit around on our server with a different account, kind of see people that are active, and then they never join our account, but then they friend request you on just out of the blue. So just a warning or a caution, something to be mindful of. And like I said before, what we're doing is next week will be bias and momentum week. So we'll be covering bias and momentum, and that's what we'll be focusing on. So we're gonna going forward over the next couple weeks. We will be focusing on one foundational thing within the system or within trading a week, and be adding training material if needed, or approaching that subject from a different angle. Still waiting for it to actually unfold long. I mean, we're only in 6 lots. Don't see any other trade on the table. Could maybe potentially get in here in a pullback. If we look and see what the key levels are, obviously, 705. And then that last pullback tagged a key level on chart 4, 660. And then we've got another key level down below at 631. So if this doesn't hold, then 631 will be tagged, and that'll be another point to be potentially long if this level doesn't hold. We look at the up volume, down volume. There's no clue that it's going to sell off at all. There hasn't been a VWAP test since the first hour of the market. So there's a possibility that big tech overall wants to go back and test the VWAP, but you'll get a clue of that. And the clue will be an alpha candle, most likely on chart 2. That will be clear, and then it will roll over. So we don't see that yet. So just trying to get more size on without chasing the trade. Volatility has definitely slowed down. Nephew lead handles that, Stephanie, so I'll send that over to him.
Who is this?
Stephanie Hall.
Oh, from YouTube. You are streaming?
Yep.
Order filled.
On TradingView and on Restream.
Yeah, I'm on YouTube, but I just didn't know if you're on TradingView.
I'm not on. I guess I can get on. I will say, us developing stuff in Sierra Chart, one of the benefits of that is that we're getting deeper into the market of things that I haven't necessarily got into. So we were going to release that, or we had a next indicator released called Quick Chart Changer. I'm surprised Sierra Chart doesn't have this built in, but they don't. So we're releasing an indicator on it, and we had to look at rollover. We had to look at rollover time. How is it calculated? Like, how does it know when to roll? A few other things that I understand, but I've never really looked deeply. Okay, how do I really have to calculate this so that this is the way that it's really calculated? Any other questions? I can answer questions while we're just sitting here waiting for stuff. I'm working on stuff. Otherwise, I'm working on other things. So we did record a couple podcasts yesterday. I do have to export those to WAV files. That's what I didn't do. Sucker and succotash. So if we look at today, and we were to grade today early, I would say that, remember, we start with chart 1 for our grades. I would say these are the high probability trades. There's high probability trade 1, high probability trade 2. I actually called that directly in the room earlier today. I said, hey, I called it down here. So I actually called it way down here. I said, hey, here's a scenario you should be looking for this pullback. Avoid vanity. Really looking forward to getting my funded account now. I passed today. Oh, awesome! Congrats, man, or person. Congrats. Great to hear that. Yeah, I will, once I get organized. I'll do one of the funded account things. If you have your fade card, I can almost guarantee that there is a fade trade right in here. But that's probably the week. If I were to go with the strongest fades, I would include that in the grading. And then we have a trade there, and we have a trade here, and you should have faded here if you have your fade card, because we called 710 earlier. That's using chart 3. So today the system provided, and we take this trade that I'm late on, that I didn't exactly get the best entry on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 high probability trades. 6 of them are momentum. The rest of them are fades. So now, when I go about grading this is where we outline, okay, that's where the system outlines our high probability trades. And then I go into the 4-chart setup, and then I actually grade it. Sometimes some of these trades go away, but I can guarantee that none of these trades are going to go away, because I know the 4-chart. I can visualize the 4-chart setup on each one of these trades, because I've been trading in it for so long, and I designed it. So, but that's an example. I would grade probably today so far with the system. Remember, this isn't how you trade the system. It's not how easy it was to trade the system. It was how clear the system provided the trades, that the high probability trades. I'd say it's probably at least a B+ to an A- today, based on, I haven't even looked at the 4-chart setup on all these, but if we were to look at the 4-chart setup, I'd say it's an A- today, that the system provided very clear. There's a couple times, like earlier today when we were talking about, it was frustrating to sit there in those ranges. But if you keep in mind the things that we cover and the things that we covered, which is define your key levels, take time out as a factor, and focus on what the chart's doing, not the time that you're sitting there watching it. Focus on what is actually actions. Actions speak louder than words. So anybody have any feedback on what I've shared so far? Fix content wider than the real max. Go ahead. Oh, wait. Is that the builder? Yeah, Banger, if you're going into options, it is I do find options. I like to trade extremes with options. I don't like to trade just daily. Yeah. Okay. We're still waiting. We're only in, I'm not going to get too aggressive. We're in 9 lots. Not the best entry as far as where the opportunity entry was. The opportunity entry was right around 658. So we should have had a better entry than we do right now at 671. But part of it is I scaled in a little bit there. I think we protect this position. I think I'm going to do fixed stops on this, And if we get knocked out, we'll just start over. But at this point in time, there's no reason to take a loss on where we're at right here. Because if it's going to pull back and it's going to break where the entry is, then it's most likely going to go to either 664 again for a test, maybe 657, or down to the weak level, chart 4630. That's good. Stephanie Hall says, you validated so much for me, learning new things as well, reading my charts with more clarity. That's good.
Why are you, out of curiosity, saying, I think you said 630 or 63? Why are you saying that's a weak level?
So, because it is. Well, yeah, that's there. That's all I have to say about that. No,
Thanks. That answered it perfect.
No, because it's between two strong levels. So, your strong level on chart 4 is 537 below, and then the new strong level that was created up above at 704, even though it's recent. So anything in between there is a weak level, because it's mainly you look left of the chart and do you see stuff? If you look left of the chart and you see stuff, it's weak. If you look left of the chart and you don't see stuff, it's strong. It's that. That's the extent of the divination.
If I look left and I see stuff, that means it's weak. I didn't follow that. If you could repeat it.
I'll share the picture in the den or in trade room alpha. I do need to get a sound effect. So
okay, I'll take a look.
But it's and take a look and still ask questions if you have questions. So what I mean is, if you look at so the middle line is the weak level, and see how you look left of the chart and you see stuff.
When you say stuff, I mean I see
pricing,
a range,
price action
going up,
price action,
price action, yeah.
You see stuff. That's a weak level because there's stuff there. There's price action there. There's
okay,
but
got it. I follow.
Yeah,
totally.
but
okay.
And then look at the top one, you don't see stuff. And then look at the bottom one, you don't see stuff, right?
I got it. Yep.
But you could go ahead.
What's the Oompa Loompas or the Smurfs, was it?
Oh, the Oompa Loompa is when you're super short, when you'd be crazy not to short the market. And this is the original Oompa Loompas, not the new one where they're all the same person, and it's Johnny Depp. I mean, Johnny Depp did an all right job, but I'm an original when it comes to Charlie.
Classic. You're Gene Wilder.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Well, that's someone. Avoid Vanity said, watched your overcoming challenges and you introduced me to a new show, The Shield. It's been good. Yeah. So if you guys haven't watched in the mindset training, I used an example of one of the detectives in the show, The Shield, which was, for those that don't know and haven't seen The Shield, it was an FX show here in the United States. And it was one of the first shows where, on TV anyways, one of the first, before Sopranos, I even think, where the leading actor was a anti-hero. Was a guy you just wouldn't like. I mean, just did bad, evil things, but he was always doing bad, evil things. Well, not really. He was always doing bad, evil things against more bad, evil people. So it was justified, or you could justify it, or you liked them, So it's a different serialized cop drama. They approach it differently.
A little bit like Dexter's mentality.
Yeah. But it's also it's a cop drama, but it's not the typical they don't focus on the chase of the bad guys and stuff like that. They focus on different elements in the character development and the characters and the interrelationships more than typical cop drama that you watch is there's going to be one or two chase scenes and and everything else. So I thought it's a groundbreaking show, I think, for its time. It is dated though. So, but if you're looking for a show that I would say is worth a watch, that definitely was worth a watch. Anyways, did I break anybody's thunder on what we were talking about with levels? All right, good.
It just seems weird though right now. The market's been ranging. It's weird that the market was moving more during lunch hour, and now lunch hour is over and it's barely moving.
Yeah. Well, if we look in, to me, chart 3 is the control. It was the control when it held, and you've got a lot of mess on chart 3. That's the problem. I would say, 781 is the next real level, although it really has to get above 711 to make a statement here. So a close above the 711 here might be all that the market's going to give here today. A close right at it. It might not have the energy to actually go and try to take out the 781 level or the actual 843 level. I mean, obviously not the 843 level, I don't think, but
Right. It just seems like it's drifting like sellers and buyers.
yeah.
But there aren't that many buyers either.
Yeah, there's not profit taking and there's no buyers stepping up at this level because I think if you look at the underlying on probably some of these. By the way, I did say that the Euro that was a perfect call. Hopefully someone took that trade. I called the sell off on the Euro JPY there. So hopefully you caught that trade. If we look at the 4-day, I think there's a little bit more room possibly to continue shorting Euro JPY, maybe even down to the RDA, maybe down to at least the slow momentum at 154 spot 704. But yeah, if we look at the underlying, to your point, I think things are at the point where it doesn't make sense for you to be a buyer. I mean, it's approaching a previous high, Tesla. Apple is an inside bar of yesterday still. It hasn't even approached yesterday's open. Meta's broken out from its range and is approaching the next weekly level right around 313 spot 13. Nvidia is still in its pullback. I'm still looking for an RDA. I'm still looking for, anywhere from 377 to 360 to reacquire some Nvidia possibly. Coin, coin is it's got yesterday's high, or no, it's above yesterday's high now. But it's got a range, or it's got a level right around 85. So from being a buyer perspective, there's no, you'd rather wait for a pullback, wait for it to hit some of these zones and see what happens and then buy the pullbacks. Amazon is about to take out the high in August 2022. Which is a major move.
Ooh, Tesla. Quite the chart.
Yeah.
Wow.
Some of these are saying maybe tomorrow might be an interesting day. But, all right, so where are we at? Rearrange. I'm going to put some trailing stops in the market now that the market's moved on the NQ. Up about 4,900, 4,800 on 9 lots. We're hitting the key level right around 704. So what's going to happen there is key. So for those that are watching on TradingView or YouTube, if you haven't joined Discord, you'll see a link down below that says join my Discord or join Discord. You definitely want to join us on Discord. It's one of the best ways to get in touch with us. Follow along. Plus, we share stuff on there that we don't share anywhere else. That's where we have the best discussions. You can ask questions, anything about trading. We're very focused in how we interact
So crisis
consistently.
averted.
What's up?
Everything is going. Crisis averted. Everything is going up.
Yeah.
We're gonna have new all-time highs. The economy is all fine and dandy.
Well, I'll say from a political standpoint, there's starting to be, if you can read between the lines, allies for the current administration and the current barely alive person in office. I believe the step down is going to probably happen before, because the problem is that the step down doesn't happen here in the next 2 months. Politically for the, and I'm just talking
The what?
strategic.
Sorry, I didn't hear.
The step
What
down.
needs to happen? The step down.
Yeah.
Who needs to step down?
Yeah. So because if the current occupant, if they don't step down, it in the next 2 months, there's going to be a lot of challenges, as just functional challenge. I'm just talking about strategic challenges, just challenges to getting ready for the 2024 presidential election, from balloting to there's they're approaching a timeline where they either have to commit or dump, and I'm starting to see early clues that some of the signals are saying, hey, it's time to dump. So the next accident or the next, falling
Yeah,
off a
but
bike.
usually in an election year, don't they do everything they can to keep things steady?
Well, the problem is that I think the polling and just the sheer amount of baggage with the current administration, I think, is a challenge for one side, for the current side. And I think if you look at it from, if they're going to make a change, as far as if the power base within that organization, I'm just looking at it not politically, I'm just saying strategically, if they're going to make a change, they really have to make the change within the next 2 months, because the amount of things that have to be put in place and the amount of things that start happening and that are dependent on each other, just the process alone deems that they have to make a move in the next 2 months.
When you say they, what do you mean? Like, I'm very confused. Like, are you talking about institutions or administration?
So
working with the institutions?
whoever
Are you
would be
talking about the
opposing,
markets at all, or
no, whoever would be opposing Biden to be the nominee, if there's power base within his current party that is looking to saying that he shouldn't be the nominee and they want to drop him because of baggage or whatever else, they have to really do it in the next 2 months. If you look at it from I'm not even saying from a political point, I'm saying from a straight up planning and the things that need to be put in place, the filing you need to do. If they want to run someone else besides him in 2024, their window is closing in the next 2 months. The longer they wait, the more they have to bend the rules, the more they have to, play catch up, right? So, yeah.
You're saying that given that we have someone who appears to be senile running the country, doesn't look very good for the next 4 years.
Well,
even if he was perfect in other respects.
I'm not making a judgment there. I'm strictly speaking from
just that alone.
Yeah.
But from that perspective, like, this thing only gets worse with age, right?
Oh, well, I think that my gut reading of it from remember, I'm not trying to get political. I'm just trying to look at it from a strategic level and how does it affect the market. My gut level is that party there isn't support amongst that party and even independents for the current occupant. So that's my reading of it. So that's why I was looking at charts kind of on a longer term time frame and saying, okay, are the charts, because the charts signaled COVID. If you go back, there was alpha moves, there were volatility, there were clues in various areas that something was going to happen. Now, obviously the prediction wasn't to the extent of what happened. But if you go back in the charts, you'll see before that first real lockdown and everything happened and the fear. I mean, because I both of us in the household had cancer, obviously we were, the first 2 weeks, no one really knew, right? So there was a little bit of, okay, is this like on TV? So there was aspects where we were, concerned about is can you just get it from groceries and stuff like that. But after about 3 weeks, um, it was to me anyways, we just started living our lives. Um, so I know we just we just didn't, didn't go down the crazy road that some people did. But if you look in the charts during that time, my point is the charts were showing there was something on the horizon, like something. Someone knew something. Um, so it wasn't totally telegraphed, but there were early moves there, and
Order filled.
I see some parallels to something in October happening that someone knows something about, or someone or capital is aligning to. And I was thinking about maybe I would do. I'll go back and record my 45-minute analysis of me going over and doing this. I do this every couple weeks just for the hell of it. I just go and look at across all the market and just sit down and just kind of like, oh, what can, just to kind of get a feel of the landscape. You know what I mean? It really doesn't cloud my day-to-day trading though, because I've learned that lesson the hard way. It looks like it's going to roll over here. So it did exceed it, but it might just impulse up NQ. I wish I was greater size on CL, but I didn't get picked up. I guess I could have chased it. Looks like CL's going for 90 spot 49. I did take some profit on the NQ. So I was in 9 lots. I took 3 off. Once again, that's a reminder to everybody. I didn't have to. I could have just let my trailing stops because I'm well in profit. But we take profits in thirds because it deals with the psychological issue of that many have of getting out of a trade too early or not participating in long and running trades. If you get used to taking profits in thirds and always allowing for a runner in there, of course it's situational, but it's a habit you have to build. So even though I'm at this relatively small size, I'm still trading the fundamentals of what I should be trading is the main point I wanted to make there. One of these weekends, we might bring down the site just because we're going to have to do a major upgrade to it. So I'm just warning everybody, or not really warning. I'm just sharing that. I just got notification that we might have to do that.
I'm on the soul standing fade here.
Oh, you're fading?
Yeah, above that last important level, 705.
Yeah, it's probably
Scaled
got,
in.
the challenge is that you're in the middle of pivot. I mean, it could work. You're in the middle of pivot too, but it could just stubbornly just continue to grind up in a very annoying fashion.
Mm-hmm. Do you have one of the videos that I just haven't found yet that discusses your view on pivots?
I'm sure I do somewhere. You mean?
You said, no, I wouldn't know to call pivot to, and I've not seen a video that shows me what that.
Oh no, I haven't.
Is.
That's in the lineup for when we get to
Okay. Okay.
psychology of the market. So I've shared. I thought I did pin that message, but I did share the mind map of that. There's really two pivots. It's between 1508 and 1516 or so, and then there's one right around an hour before that. If you go back in charts, you'll generally see around, plus or minus 5 minutes around that time will be an afternoon pivot or a pivot in the market. It's not always, obviously, it's not always reliable. It's not something that always happens, but it happens enough where it's something that could be counted upon. Or at least considered, I should say, is the better word. Okay, so what was I doing?
What a massive move.
On the NQ or just in?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really slowed down. It's
Yeah, I just didn't think we were gonna get a move like this where it doesn't even touch the M9 for a,
Stop
like a
filled.
nice smooth
yeah.
move, like what we just had. Pretty cool.
I got knocked out on my trailing stops. I probably had that a little too close, but that's fine.
The question is, it doesn't look like there's going to be a sell-off into the close at all.
Well, there's your first answer. So
Order filled.
if you wanted to fade, I reversed.
This is right.
So I
Bring me the
reversed.
money.
And I reversed because it's the first tag. It took out the M9, first tag of the slow momentum. So this is a really easy trade to manage. Either, I'm in a participation trade at 3 lots. I can scale in up above. And then if it does, the only thing I might regret is, I should have bought there, So that's the only thing I might regret. But, I can scale in up to 725 pretty reliably. And we'll get the one opportunity. I believe I'll get one opportunity to break even on the trade.
What gives 725 as a, is that just the scale-in, using the scale-in distance, or where does that number come from? I'm looking here. I'm not seeing and trying to look back in time and see what you might be looking at.
I just added $15 to the high of that zone right around 10. So that's all I did. I just said,
got it.
And then because I've been looking at the charts, I know where we're at on chart 3. So there was no magical level or anything else that I'm seeing other than just, hey, it's well within what it typically overshoots. Now we're on, where the real test will be here. The RDA hit at 696 on chart 2. So, that's where if you're in some, and hopefully you're in thirds, you take some profit there just because it could just use that level and just go back up.
Well, I gotta hand it to you, Rex. I never would have faded that in the past. I wouldn't have had a clue how to trade that. And I realized it was a risk, but I managed the risk. I'm already I've already taken some profit and my stop's in profit, and that never would have happened a month ago.
Oh, that's good to
So,
hear. That's a
appreciate it.
well executed fade, actually. That's, at an extreme. Not waiting, because if you would have waited for confirmation, but then seeing in the chart the slowdown, waited for confirmation, you would have missed half the trade. So that's a well executed fade. And then taking, the key thing that you said is taking profits quick, on fades. That's the hardest thing to do on fades, is to realize that, okay, this isn't a, you're not going to get a runner out of this. I mean, maybe you do, but you're really not, so.
Chances are, you want to take your money off the table fast.
Yeah.
And that's where the key levels come in and such, because then you have an idea of where you ought to be taking those.
Yeah. And then you get good, and then you can reverse at those levels sometimes and write it up if you have confidence in that. I still see more of a downside, so I'm more. We'll see here. The closer we get to the half hour here, we'll see and what it's going to do. But if it holds, well, on chart, I mean, you've really got to. 685 is it's using the extreme bands and then also looking at chart 4. So I probably would go long at this point at 685, which aligns with the slow momentum on chart 1. And then you have the RDA right around 672. So, and then you have the level right at 662. So to me, split the difference, start around 6. If it gets down there, start around 679 or so, or 682, and plan to scale in all the way down to 668, with the expectation that the RDA is going to hold and that zone's going to hold. And then there's going to be one more impulse up at the end of the day. But that's just me projecting what's going to happen in the next 40 minutes. It could not happen at all. I could change my mind in 2 seconds. So.
Textbook how the RDA held one, about an hour ago or so. I was showing my wife some of these things. It's fun to show her that, progress and stuff, which is exciting to her, of course.
Yeah.
And say, take a look at how this crazy indicator.
Stop filled.
No, it is. I get it. It is nice to, or just when you can throw it up on a chart. I mean, that's the first thing when I teach someone. I mean, I've taught probably 8 to 10 family members just the basics. Like, hey, if you have a financial advisor, here's at least how to look at charts. And first thing I do is really pull up the RDA and kind of show just the amazement of how easy it is to read and really how reliable it is across whatever. So, for instance, someone in my family's been watching this stock. What is it? I have it bookmarked because, is it TLO? Yeah, TLO. It's a friggin' mining stock. So, and it's a penny stock. I mean, it's 30 cents. But something significant just happened, which is I was saying what I earmarked for her the exact zone of, it's a flyer, buy at 24 or so, 24 to 26, and it's probably going to be pulled up to the RDA. So, that on a penny stock is, a 17% move so far. I mean, about a 23% move actually. And now it just recaptured the RDA, and now it recaptured momentum. So I taught her enough to say, hey, on the daily time frame, and then drop down to the 4-day, obviously, but on the daily time frame, here's what to watch for, and then realize that this is just a straight up flyer as far as, don't put your life savings into it. But if you're going to do it intelligently this way, which is wait for it to breach the RDA, wait for a pullback, wait for momentum to hold, scale in down below at 27, now 27.275, and just sit on it because it's either going to move or not. Or it's going to go down to its next level, which is down to, 0.08, which would be a huge loss. But we outlined that way back in middle or beginning of summer. So for those, anybody that, even something as simple as something you've never heard of, TLO, a mining stock focused on the Midwest and Canada, the system works on something as simple as a penny stock.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't I see something where you applied it to a weather chart?
Yep.
Yeah.
I should see if I can find a way to pull that up again. We can get any open, high, low. If we can get any data that has open, high, low, close that can be plotted into candlestick or a chart, it doesn't really matter, candlesticks. I've done it enough that I'm convinced, I bet on it, that the system will hold. And it could be it could be the amount of Hell's Angels bikers that died in the 1980s. I'm just, I don't know what we tapped into, but it's the way it works. All right, we're only up, or we're only in 3 lots, so we're up roughly about $1,000, but I didn't want to get too heavy. So hopefully you did you leave a runner in that trade at least? Or did you get out completely?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No. Oh, I left 2 lots open. I ultimately scaled in 6 and closed out 4 of them in profit. Now I'm running with I'm just letting 2 run.
Yeah. So
trying not to cheat. I might want to throw more at it, but it's a fade. So I'm just going to take what the market gives me.
Yeah. And so we're hitting the first zone where we might see some reaction here right around 690. And then the next one is right around 683. Part of that is using chart 3 and also looking at the extreme bands on chart 2. So if you look at the extreme bands on chart 2, those are good reaction zones and good overshoot zones. So the biggest, I think that the strongest case to go long at this point is, right around 680. And that's coming from chart 3. And then if you correlate, so chart 3 would be my control there, that level. You do have to be mindful of that 6666 or so 6664 at the slow momentum might be tested on chart 3. But I'd start with the thesis that chart 3 is my control for a trade like this here going into the rest of the afternoon, and that it wants to test the 680 level. And then I'll go and look at the rest of and this is to go long, and I'd go and look at the rest of the charts and correlate and see whether or not that correlation makes sense. I'll share people on TradingView or on YouTube if you are interested in trading the same system that you see me trading here. It's called the Rexstock system. You can learn more about it by visiting rexstock.com, rexstocktrading.com. Sorry. Also, you could join Discord and send Nephew Elite or myself a DM and say, how do I get started with the Rexstock trade system? So that's what you hear people talking about in the room. That's what you hear people discussing there. Our system's a little bit different where, yes, you take the system and you trade it, but you actually, in the process of doing that, you make it your own. All right, we got a impulse down And now this is where it's a little too soon, actually, that impulse and the move of that, the way it moved like that, and the time where it's around 15:30. I'm not going to go long, even though I called the zone, just because the fast momentum at 664 is a little too close to this zone on chart 3. So now I can always get back in, or I can always get in and go long if this level holds. But based on that move and how it got there, I'm not convinced yet that it's a smart entry yet. Mainly because I'd rather start scaling in at 666 or 664 than scaling in right here. So it's worth just waiting and missing the trade and then and then chasing it if it does go up. Is that clear on how I'm reading it, everybody? That's mainly reading chart 2.
Yes. And actually, that's where I have my take profit at 661.75.
Yeah.
And I'm coming down from 704.25.
Yeah. So I would put, I don't remember if did I get rid of where I did all the grading? Where did I do the grading? I must have done it here. Did I do it on the NDX or the NQ? I don't know where I did it. I thought I did it here. Maybe I did it on the NDX. Well, that's another high probability trade, this fade. I would put to the high probability. So it's 9 trades today that the system provided that I would consider high probability confirmation trades that you get on using the 4 chart setup, day trading. That's with three fades and six momentum trades. This last trade, I think, fits the criteria of it's a double top or a triple top, however you want to read it. So you should be looking for a rollover anyways. And then when it really at 15:19 time, right around 7:01. So my entry is at 7:04 spot 25, but right around 7:01 was when you got confirmation that, hey, I've got something to trade against as far as the upside. And actually, you got it sooner, back when I said, hey, it tapped the M24, the slow momentum. That's when, I entered, but I was waiting for a pullback to add to size instead of chasing it once the confirmation hit. All right, we're almost there. Either way, we're still in the market participating, so you can't really complain about, pulling in another $1,800. I guess you
I'm
could.
happy at 10% of that.
Yeah, I guess you could. Yeah, you could complain, I guess, if you really want to, but. Yeah. So there's a stream a couple days ago where I was listening to another streamer, and that guy was a little unhinged in some of his conversations. I've listened to that I've actually conversated with him before. He's interesting, interesting. His takes on things are interesting, but he is definitely very, everybody's opinionated, but he's very opinionated about certain things. So I don't remember if anybody was, or if there's people here that were on when I was accidentally playing that stream in the background and didn't realize that the audio was going through.
Yep. I remember a few of us there. It was funny.
Well, let's see there.
So how tight do you like to trail on something like this, a fade?
Well, usually what I like to do is if I have enough, like here, I have 3 lots, one at the fast momentum, one at the slow momentum, and one at the RDA. And then that's why you see me
That sounds
sometimes.
cheap.
You might see
Sounds
my
great.
my positions continually be adjusted because
Hmm.
with Sierra chart, it's cool. You can actually drag them, so you don't have to. With Tradeovate, you can't drag your trailing stops. It's not smart enough to realize that for some odd reason. But Sierra
Oh,
chart,
gotcha. So
yeah, I have to cancel the actual trailing stop and then re-put another one, which is just utterly annoying.
that is annoying.
Well, I won't share that yet. We're working on something too that would maybe auto trail. So just imagine that in Sierra chart, it would auto trail. You wouldn't have to do anything. So I've tested the beta of it.
Okay. I just got my exit.
Yeah,
Stop field.
it's a little early. I'd like to see it tag the 660 level, but this is the first
Well,
reaction to the upside.
C1 did bounce on the RDA, and
Yeah.
I've got a level at 673 that
Well, and
also.
that's the RDA on chart 4, right around 664. So we're close in that zone. Beta.
I'm happy with my exit.
No, it's a good fade. Good job.
Appreciate it.
Especially for not having your official fade card. Kind of having a
Right? I certainly don't.
having a McLovin fade card.
I'm driving without a license.
My nephew and I were talking the other day. He was watching American Pie. I don't know if there's some movies that just couldn't be made today. Like American Pie is probably one of them.
That is on the list. Yeah.
I mean, some of my favorite movies are Harold and Kumar. I think those could be made because I don't think that they're. I mean, I think they could still pass the muster.
Yeah.
But there are some movies I don't think that could even be made or considered today. I haven't watched American Pie in years too, so I don't think Superbad fits in that realm because Superbad isn't really all that bad. I mean, it's just it's a decent, there's nothing really super. Hey, Banger, good afternoon. There's nothing there that's super out of PC that I think wouldn't pass the muster. But I haven't seen that movie in a while either. All right, I'm tempted to go long.
You and I both.
Oh, there's another movie too, Sex Drive. That's kind of like a B. I don't know if it's a B movie, but it's definitely, I don't even know when it was released, but that's another one of those I put in the same realm as, I don't even think there's anybody in it that are well-known actors. Now that I think
Isn't it
about
the
it.
same producer as American Pie?
No,
Isn't it in that?
but it's kind of one of those teen movies where but it's basically a teen boy is talking to this chick online and takes his
Yeah,
brother's
and
car.
they take his brother's fancy car and all
Yeah.
that. Yeah, it's classic. They rebuilt or whatever.
Yeah, and then they meet. Oh, Seth, what's his name? Not Seth Rogen, but
Yeah.
Is the Amish dude in that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty funny.
Which someone in our family married into someone that was Amish. So I actually learned a lot about Amish culture by talking to them at the wedding. They're not Amish, so they left.
Stop field.
They left, and it's not the faith or the life. I don't know if it's called the life, but their family is still, Amish. But they decided not to live the way, at least for now. But I've never really met anybody Amish before, so it was nice to kind of learn more about the culture and ask questions and just kind of learn more about kind of how they live life and stuff. So, all right, it's almost reverse time.
Field.
So it's almost,
Order filled.
it's either going to rip down
I
here.
got filled all along.
Yeah. It's either going to rip down here or it's time to take a risk on the long side. So I'm in 3 lots. I'll do 6.
Order filled.
And then I'm waiting for a pullback, and then I'll call bluff on the sell-off. So if it breaks the level, if it breaks 664, I'll most likely be a buyer.
You want to see it check back to 664 before you go long.
Well, I'm not going to chase it at this point because it's too late in the session. I
Yeah.
mean, we're, anything. I mean, it can get pretty volatile. It can start
Yes.
whipsawing around. So, yeah. So
I had a couple of
go ahead.
Yeah, I had a couple of entries for long entry, basically orders for 2 lots. It picked up half of one. I'm not used to being in one contract. It's kind of feels weird.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the problems too. If you have a really, really small account, like $500 or something, you could trade up to 3, but you got to be spot on, and you really don't have much error for anything. So trading 1 or 2 lots here, the problem is every trade has to be at least a break even or a little bit of a profit or really, 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 really small loss, because and then you have to do it time and time again if you're just trading 1 or 2 lots. So if you're not able to trade in at least 2 lots where you can at least have 1 target and 1 runner, it's almost a daunting task to grow an account.
Yeah.
The account growth happens with the runners. That's something that I've mentioned before, and I want to work on a graphic somehow, or I want to work on some kind of explanation to explain this. And I guess it's just I'm trying to the P&L graph, when you see it, it really is. It's stair step, and then a hockey stick move, which is your runner. Stair step, and then like a hockey stick move. And even though you're only in a third of that position for that runner, that's your true account builder. And then you're just building to the foundation as you're taking profits along the way. Especially in a trade system like ours, where it's always in, and if you have a substantial losing day, you're probably doing something wrong. I mean, I guess I would ask everybody here in the room that's willing to speak up, what do you think about that? The fact that there is an expectation that you don't have a losing day. What does anybody have any feedback on that?
Oh, I love the expectation, but and it's beginning to move in that direction. But I've had to really learn the fundamentals for that to start occurring.
Mm-hmm.
At first, it sounded batshit crazy.
That's good to hear.
But I mean, if anything, I find it very inspiring because you're showing that it's possible, and so if it's possible, then it's just a matter of getting there.
Yeah.
It's like it's sort of a really good peer pressure, like how if you're if you have a monopoly, companies don't tend to care much, but if there's a competition and they say, okay, these guys did this weird thing and we didn't think it was possible, but now we know it's possible, so we're going to do it too.
Yeah, exactly. But it's it wouldn't have been, it's not possible unless the system supports it. I think that's the aha moment I've had on it, which is, yeah, it's the trader, because you have to manage yourself psychologically and you have to execute and do it. But if you don't have a system that supports that paradigm, then you don't have a chance. And I would say I've only probably done 9 to 10. I bought trainings on 9 to 10 systems. I don't know if you would consider Al Brooks' training a system, because it's all about price action reading. But outside of that, there's the M-Box system. There's, I don't really like ICT training style, so I don't really resonate with much of how he approaches the market. So I didn't. I do have his training, but I have a friend that bought it, so I actually just looked at it and said, "Okay, I get it." Who's the other people? There's these forex people. What are those guys' name? They went super crazy. That's another. I have to figure out. Alton.
There's so many.
Alton is his name, but it's more. He was at a. I think he had a reality TV show in, and he had a London office, and he brought on people to teach him to trade. I don't know.
Are you talking about Astro FX?
Astro FX, I don't know. Let me see. Astro FX might be. No, these guys came later. So Astro FX came later. So there's another, like, they approach it from like a PhD level, and they teach you about cross pairs. They teach you really, like, I can't think of what his name is. I have to probably fire up my RAID drive or my other machine and get access to it and see where my training's at. But I guess my main point is that I've only really dived in and said, okay, here's 10 trade systems that someone is saying learn how to do, right? And then the rest of the training was just trainings that I found that people didn't box their training as trade systems. They boxed it as learn the market or learn how to trade. And they didn't have a specific trade system. A good example of that, I guess, would be what was that dude that we looked at the other day, Tony or nephew? What was that dude we looked at the other day? The dude that you said he had a sick site, but his video was nothing about trading. It was all him in his Lambo in Dubai.
I don't know what was it called?
Love those image ads.
Something college university.
Yeah. Oh, university grade trade. Yeah. So Thomas Crowlaw. So I've never seen this guy, but this is an example of the type of stuff that I was buying years ago. Thomas Crowlaw. I mean, his headline here, just so from a marketer's perspective, just so in case no one knows marketing, maybe I'll just share. A headline, generally, a good headline is a promise, and a headline for a website, what really it is it's a promise to your prospect. But the other thing that it is it should encompass the most value in the shortest amount of time. It's like your elevator pitch for what you do. So when you look at that and you look at someone's headline, his headline is University Grade Trading Education by Thomas Crowlaw. So he's leading with the fact that he believes that the benefit that most people want or the benefit that you get is that it's a university grade trading education. And if you look at his education, and I don't know why I got off on this trip, but he doesn't get into his system, how he trades the system, until probably about 10 to 15 modules in. Everything else before that is not. And even then, we lead with the Rex Dog trade system, meaning that I lead with, look, you learn the philosophy of how the market operates and runs, but you're really adopting the Rex Dog trade system. The other trainings you'll see out there it will be like that. They either lead with the system, or they'll lead with the fact that they teach you how the market works, how to day trade, and they don't have a system, but they have a philosophy of how the market works.
Order filled.
We do both because I think you have to have both. But I guess I'm mentioning that because in me going through the path that I went through to build what you guys have, what you guys are able, to kind of learn and trade, I bought at least 10 to 15 of these system first, and then I bought probably about 20 to 30 learn to trade systems learn the markets systems. So, a lot of my knowledge came from going through those and going through indicators, going through everything, and just, I guess you could say I'm a student of everything that came before me. You know, some of my, I don't know how many of my thoughts are unique. I don't know how many of my things that I have are unique. And I try to attribute the things that I do borrow heavily from to the people that actually created them. Anyways, I don't know where I got off on that. So hopefully that's interesting to people, at least somewhat.
Order filled.
I shorted. So
Picking up longer. Oh,
yeah, because, well, it might actually rip up. So I shorted because, um, and I'm looking to add around 684, 685 because we're in the number one. If you're not highly skilled, trading in the last 20 minutes of the market is really something you shouldn't do, just because it can whipsaw. Today, it's relatively calm, but it can whipsaw quickly. And you could be, let's say you've had a good day so far, well, you could really ding your P&L by just plain, like I consider it, just tinkering around in the market when you really shouldn't be in the market unless you know what you're doing. So, I'm short because of it does look like it's going to impulse down, but I'm also not at the best entry, and then I'm willing to scale in all the way up to 696. So I'm willing to get picked up to that level, and then probably get one opportunity to get out. But I could make the case here that it might impulse long as well because it held the lower level. It held 671. It held the RDA in chart 4. One of the reasons why I see the downside is because it didn't tap the actual fast momentum on chart 3. But you could just see now the volatility just picked up. So
350.
yeah.
Order filled. Order filled.
So I'm reducing for a little bit of a small loss. And then, yeah, I might cut here and just say, hey, it's not worth it. Stephanie said the importance of understanding confluence, timing, and time frame analysis, when to enter and exit the market was important for my development. Yeah, it's all kind of, that's why earlier today, I think someone asked a question about what are you looking at or what made you make that decision? And I said, well, yeah, it starts with the control chart, but then it's the holistic view of what momentum and what the charts are telling us and the rules. But that sounds like a lot, except for once you understand what you're looking for, it's like anything else. If you've never looked at a wiring diagram, for instance, you don't know what the icons are and you don't know what things are on the wiring diagram, you're going to look at that and you're going to be completely clueless what a resistor is, and you just won't know what you're looking at. But when you know what you're looking at, then it starts to reveal itself, and then it becomes a lot easier to take the holistic approach and the view. Yeah, I shouldn't have got out. I got a little spooked on that.
I think
taking a controlled risk on the opposite side there and just got filled long. So
Yeah.
hoping that's a double bottom on C2. And
sometimes you can
Order
get
filled.
like, you can catch moves that, you can make a good, I don't know, 30 or 40 ticks, 20 ticks on a impulse move at this market time. But you got to trade the extremes. And you can't be flip-flopping. You can't be, oh, it's long, it's short. Oh, it's long, it's short, because you'll get eaten up in fees. And so you really have to take one or two stands, and then you have to then go with the one or two stands.
Yeah, I'm long at 672. So
Yeah. I might just get out just because it's just not worth even my attention anymore.
there we go.
Astro FX. I don't think I've seen Astro FX before, now that I think about it. No,
So,
I'll,
you know,
go ahead. Sorry, I cut you off.
sorry. Oh no, I was curious. So, you know, I'm staying away from these final moments, but I'm still interested because when I look at this chart and I go, okay, if I'm trading the extreme bands, and I'm looking at the chart, I'm going to say that it's short. So I'm going to look for the extreme band on the high side to enter.
Yeah.
But I'm hearing, I don't know who it is that's speaking. I got someone else in the room right now. I think is it Reach Jason here?
Might be me,
Is going-
Jason. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're going long, and so I'm curious to know your where you're getting that from. Is that from chart one, the RDA? Is that your, or you said you're going
Well,
long, right?
it's yeah. I am. I've got a level at 673. So I actually ended up trading a little tighter to that than I intended. I wanted to put my long entries below that, but when the market was moving up, I slid them a bit, and yeah, I may end up being sorry about this. My stop's very safe within my tolerance for the day.
Well,
I'm
I
willing
was
to
so
get back.
impressed with that fade trade before, and these are the kinds of things that I'm interested in spotting. Is going, all right, how did that, and it's, so this is where I was wondering the logic on the long.
Yeah, it's definitely about the levels and the fact that we had that what about 25 minutes ago on C2, that low established at about 671. So it's calculated risk given the volatility at the end of the day. I just felt comfortable, going along there. I wish I could give you a more scientific method than
No,
that.
that's
Other
okay.
than
In time, I'll pick it up. I would just, if I'm asking here and there.
no, it's all right. That's one thing I love about this is the community. I've learned a ton from you guys.
Yeah, I love it myself as well. I'm right there.
I needed to point my gun in one direction, and I pointed it north, and it just cost me a very small piece of my daily P&L since I spread out my scaled in pretty far apart so that to mitigate. I completely botched the first half of the day and dug a very deep hole out of which I climbed and scratched some profit. So I'm pretty pleased with myself today.
That's great. It's really, it is. It feels.
It gets discouraging when you look at it and you go, why did I even do that? I can see that was just stupid, and you just kind of want to throw your computer out the window.
Yeah. So it hit the
Instead,
RDA. Sorry to break in here, but I went long at
no,
the
no, no,
RDA.
no, no. Trading's good.
So,
Yeah, I wish I'd have put my entries lower. I literally, that bottom tick was my last stop. So
I went long there at the RDA, and even though there's only 4 minutes left in the market, and roughly up about $2,000 on 15 lots. So we'll see if I can get some profit. But see, that's also the key where, like, we were calling the RDA on chart one as far as a level that might hit, and so this is a prime example of, okay, the system works even in 4 minutes. I mean, I could take some profit. I should have been taking some profit because it hit the RDA in chart 4 or chart 2. Yeah, so I didn't maximize my profit. I only made, instead of making $1,800, only made like 11. But I mean, that's a prime example there of a quick scalp. The system works, that there's a reaction there. It's just, even 4 minutes into the market closing, right?
Yeah, it's great seeing this.
Yeah, so P&L on the afternoon here, at least I think is right around $11,243.
have you ever plotted multiple time frames of the RDA on a same chart?
Plotted multiple time frames. Oh yeah, no, we have an indicator. You have access to that indicator. It's on TradingView.
Okay.
What's that one called?
Multi-time frame RDA or something. I don't know. Let me look. Yeah, so we have you have a lot of indicators that probably most people don't know because you're new and you probably haven't looked, and it's in the indicator. So for instance, there is market crashes time frames indicator, which is a cool indicator. Rexdog custom momentum lines. What this allows you to do is that if everybody's, and I'll share on Discord. I should have been sharing on Discord all along. Sorry. I have to figure out which screen is. Oh, there it is. Screen. Is it that one? Or that one? I think it's this one. So do you guys see it? Yeah. So there's Rexdog custom momentum lines. What that does, that's pretty sweet. It basically, you can choose the momentum lines and then it does a momentum line here. So you'll see here, this is using the 2 hour, the 120, and you have the fast, slow momentum and the RDA. So that's part of the member indicators. And then we have where is it at? I'm looking for it. Here it is, multi-time frame ribbon. That is a multi-time frame of the RDA across different time frames.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Stock average MTF ribbon, huh? Okay,
Yeah.
I'm doing a little search here.
There's another one here I thought that I created that we have a couple other ones that are in the various process of being finished. Well, for instance,
I don't think that was published. At least on if you're on TradingView, I'm not seeing the MTF ribbon.
It should be there. Let me see. Yeah, so that's once again, that's in the training, but it's not something that I highlight because it's in the indicator section. So most people probably haven't even got to the indicator section, and then it's a direct link. So that one I haven't locked behind. It's more you have to have the link to it to get to it and use it.
So you want to be a pal?
I'll share this in the alpha den here.
Love it.
But all the other ones are part of. So this is the one that actually doesn't have. Part of it is that, this is inside. The member management on TradingView sucks. So, like for instance, I'll just share, and it's not so if I want to add a member to a private indicator, this is what's so stupid about TradingView. I mean, there's multiple things that are stupid sometimes about it. I have to go all the way down here on every one of the indicators, and I have to go manage access and then click on manage access and then add the people. I have to scroll all the way down. Now, what I've done, because I just move this button in my browser all the way up at the top, so I don't have to do that. I just use a CSS plugin that allows me to CSS move it up there. But their member management in TradingView is terrible. Like that you can't just say, hey, I have a suite of private indicators and I want to add a member to it. No, you have to add a member. Let's say you have 15 indicators. You have to add each individual person to that each individual indicator. It's utterly frustrating. So, and maybe the big boys, maybe the big like Lux Algo, those people, those guys. I don't know if you ever heard of Lux Algo.
Yep.
Maybe those guys, because they're loved by TradingView, actually have like some kind of tool or something. Because I don't know how they manage the sheer amount of stuff that they publish. Because all they really are is just a rip-off shop. I mean, that's all they are. I mean, they do have some unique ideas.
It seems that way.
Yeah, they're just a rip-off shop, which is fine. I mean, that's the marketplace. But they have some unique ideas. But anytime something gets traction on TradingView, they're duplicating it. So
Did you share that MTF in the Alpha Den you said?
Yep.
Or how do we go about getting that? I didn't follow.
yeah, it's in the Alpha Den. And that plots the 5, the 15, the 30, the 60, the 240, and the daily.
How do you find it to add it with that link? I'm a little.
I think you add it to your favorites and then you have to go in and search for it. I really don't know that process. And maybe what I should do is I should make it private. I have to republish it then it's easier because when it's private, because when
Yeah,
it's just a link,
It shows it as locked.
yeah. Well, it shouldn't be locked. That's the thing. I can't add people to it. So that means that the only people that can add it are people that actually have the link. So I'll look into it. I'll understand why it's not there. But it is in the
Oh, wait.
training. So it is listed in the training, and then there's a link to it, and then that's how typically
Oh, okay.
but well, actually, here. No, that's the wrong one. I don't know. I'll look into it. I'll figure it out here by the end of the day and say, here's how to get access. But it should be that once you have the link, you have the ability to then.
Oh, down there you go. Add the favorite indicators. You scroll down.
Yeah. Yeah. So you'll see my chart, Rexdog Maximus, which is, this chart here. It has, it looks super busy, but keep in mind, I'm usually looking at it on the 15-minute or the 5-minute time frame. And what it tells me based on the colors is every one of the fast, slow momentum, the mix 200 and the RDA as lines where they're at. And it's labeled. So I know that this is the weekly RDA up here. So if we look at Bitcoin, Bitcoin is approaching the daily RDA. It's approaching the weekly slow momentum, fast momentum, the daily RDA and the weekly RDA, or no, the daily slow momentum, and then the weekly RDA. So, I can go to another. I know it's busy, but I don't use this chart to trade on. I use it for quick gut feel. Where's the market at? So if I were to look at gold right now, GC on the daily or on the 1 hour time frame, gold's got a lot of work to do. It's basically the only core indicator that it has to hang its hat on the long side is it's right at the 240 fast momentum. And then it's got the weekly mix 200. Other than that, for its ride up, if it wants to rip up, it needs to go through the 240 fast momentum, slow momentum, 240 RDA, daily fast momentum, daily slow momentum, 240 mix 200. You can just see it. So that's this indicator called Rexdog custom momentum lines. And then you go into that indicator and you select the time frame that you want to display, and then you just add another indicator for another time frame. So let's say you don't want to use the multi-time frame ribbon that I just shared. Well, then you could add the custom lines and just maybe you want to just add one time frame, and you could maybe add the 60. So maybe if we go to the ideas chart here and we go to the 5-minute chart, let's say that, well, maybe I would like to see the 60, momentum lines. So RD mo, know what these were titled. Get to them. Okay. I have to look it up. Oh, customizable. There it is. So there, I just added it to the chart, and then I go in there and edit it, and I can say, okay, well, I want, instead of the daily, I want to see the 60. And now on my 5-minute chart, I have the 60. It also plots the actual lines. So if you wanted to see those, like you can see that there's the actual, but it's jagged. I just like the lines. So typically what we just do is we just turn that off. And now you just have the actual lines with labels. Now it does busy up your chart, but now you have the Rexdog momentum and bias indicators on the 60 time frame as a line. so you can see it where it's on the 60. That makes sense?
Yeah.
So,
That's great.
I mean, it does make your
Mm.
chart busier, but at the same time, you know, if you get used to, if maybe this is just one of your charts that's just up there that you reference real quick, so you don't have to go to the 60, right? And you can correlate the lines, especially you can correlate it to other things, where you can correlate the slow momentum of the 60 is aligning with the weekly open right around 410 on the NDX. So, you know, it does help you to do things like that. All right. Well, I'm going to call it a day. Any other questions or any other things people?
I was able to get that MTF ribbon to
Were you-
work.
Were you able to get it to work? Or
Yeah, you have to copy the link, into your browser where you're logged into TradingView, and then add it to your favorites. Then you got to sign out of TradingView and come back in, and then it'll show it. It's a
Oh.
bit convoluted, but
yeah. And then it's in your favorites, and then basically you can add it to the chart by
Yeah.
adding to your favorites. Yep.
well, thanks for making that, and appreciate your input today.
Yeah.
Yeah, another great day. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Same with everybody else. Great day. Everybody, appreciate everybody showing up. Like I said, we're seeing continuous progress. I mean, I think we had a couple aha moments today, so that's great to hear.
It
Great to
was a
see.
great day for trading.
It really was. It was a clean day. You know, if you there was a few times where it was probably frustrating, but if you were trading today, I would say it's a relatively clean day to trade the system. It was pretty clear where it was going a lot of, I'd say majority of the time. So, okay, we'll be around most likely tomorrow. I don't think we're going to stream the whole day, but we'll do part of the day, I'm sure. Tomorrow's Friday, right? And we don't really have any major news, so there shouldn't be much move in the market, but we will be around tomorrow. So see everybody tomorrow. I do need to get the Black Dynamite thing back so I can go out with Black Dynamite.